Hello everyone. As I promised that I'm gonna bring a key point and few MCQs related to the laws of motion. So I'm here today to gonna explain you all about that. So let's just begin. Okay. Pehla law. Pehla law. Now, the first I'm gonna give you the few आसान points kind of that. Alright, तो पहला law, the first law of motion tells the definition of what. First law हमारे पास बताता है definition of force. Alright, first law give the definition of force. Okay, and the second law give the definition of acceleration. You can also say that the second law shows the relation of acceleration. Alright, but second law of motion के अंदर many of the students get confused and do kind of mistakes in that, so we not gonna do that. वो कहते हैं F is directly proportional to A, means acceleration, but according to this law this statement is gonna be wrong. A is directly proportional to F. Alright, means acceleration is directly proportional to force. Alright, हम वो भी कह सकते हैं, but I know these both are appropriate, but हम दोनों भी बोल सकते हैं. But the one that is being said by the law, and we know that law cannot be changed. Alright, let's just prolong this. Okay, so first second law of motion give the example and give the definition of acceleration. Alright, it give the definition of acceleration. Alright, अब now this statement is of second law. This statement of second law, ठीक है, that F is equal to ma. This is the equation of second law. तो हम अभी क्या ड्राइव करने वाले हैं? Now we gonna drive the unit of that we know that kilogram is known as the unit of mass, meter per second square is for acceleration, so the SI unit in MKS of the force is none other but kilogram meter per second square. Alright, अगर कोई आपसे पूछता है that how 1 न्यूटन would define, एक न्यूटन आप कैसे डिफाइन करोगे? Alright, तो your answer must be in 1 second 1 kg mass did the applied force on 1 kg mass and covered the distance 1 meter, so that would be defined as 1 kilogram, means 1 kg 1 meter in 1 second. Alright, so this would be defined as none other but the Newton, 1 Newton. Okay, अगर आपसे कोई पूछे how would you define one dyne, okay, let me tell you that how would you define one dyne or how many Newton has dyne, या you can say how would you define one dyne और एक dyne के अंदर कितने न्यूटन होते हैं. These both are two different question, guys. ठीक है, so how would you define one dyne? One dyne is in CGS. The unit of the unit of force in CGS is dyne. CSG लिख दिया, but that's okay. CGS is dyne. ठीक है, तो we know that kilogram के अंदर CGS के अंदर we have gram. ठीक है, meter we have centimeter, second is remain same. Alright, so let me tell you that second is the unit quantity that never ever change in any unit, in any system. We have MKS, CGS, SI, BTU system. Alright, so second will remain same. Alright, so then this is how one dyne is defined. 1 gram, 1 centimeter, 1 second. Alright. Now the question arises that in 1 Newton how many dynes are there? 1 Newton के अंदर how many dynes do we have? Okay. Do not see this. Do not see this. Do not see this. This is no. Okay. अब एक डाइन के अंदर लेट्स जस्ट कैलकुलेट इट तो वी नो दैट 1 डाइन इज इक्वल टू 1 ग्राम. 1 ग्राम आ गया हमारे पास. देन 1 ग्राम मीटर यू कैन से. ऑलराइट. देन वी हैव 1 सेंटीमीटर that will be is equal to 100. so if you multiply this तो हमारे पास 5 zeros आ जाएंगे. तो that will be 10 to the power 5. Alright, and this is known as 1 Newton has 10 to the power 5 dyne. On and the other hand अगर हमसे क्वेश्चन पूछे that how many dyne, एक डाइन के अंदर कितने न्यूटन होते हैं तो that would be 10 to the power -5 क्योंकि that will come in inverse और जब inverse में ऊपर जाएगा तो रेसिप्रोकल होगा. Alright, so reciprocal, just because of being reciprocal, the value is converted into negative. Alright, now let's just come to the, what should I choose? Pink. Okay, so the relationship of, I'm really sorry for this, Kachra. Okay, let's just go. The relationship between the relationship of the second law of motion shows acceleration बताता है हमें. ठीक है. second law of motion tell us the definition of acceleration. हालांकि first law told us about force. alright, तो mathematically अगर हम लिखें कि how would you define mathematically, तो this would be F is equal to ma. and second law of motion also give the definition of acceleration. alright, and second law is also known as law of acceleration, as first law is known as law of inertia. alright, inertia एक बॉडी की क्वांटिटी, मास की क्वांटिटी कहलाती है. if okay, and elaborate more, mass की क्वांटिटी को we do call inertia. alright, then अच्छा, let me tell you one more point that inertia जो था ना वो first inertia was given by, inertia is the word, ये MCQs में आता है. inertia word was given by, अब now we are studying Newton के laws. ठीक है, but here inertia was first given by Galileo. कुछ याद आया इस नाम से? Galileo was the one who discovered telescope. alright, so Galileo introduced inertia, but inertia was used by Newton. that is why इसको हमने law of inertia बोला. ठीक है, law of inertia इस वजह से नहीं, we have certain conditions for that. alright, so law of inertia is also known as the first law of motion, second law. alright, first law. Law of inertia is known as the first law of motion, and law of acceleration is known as the second law of motion. So here is the definition of the third law of motion. अच्छा, third law of motion, every action is equal to another and opposite reaction. ठीक है, तो third law of motion also is also known as the law of action to reaction. For example, मैं आपको एग्जांपल देती हूँ कि इधर मैं चल रही हूँ, आई एम वॉकिंग. ठीक है, आई एम वॉकिंग, आई एम गोइंग इन दिस डायरेक्शन, बट जो मेरे ऊपर व्हेन आई एम वॉकिंग मेरे ऊपर जो फ्रिक्शन लग रही होगी ना, दैट विल बी इन द ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन. ऑलराइट, ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में होगी. तो जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस एक्शन वी हैव द रिएक्शन एंड ऑपोजिट रिएक्शन. मैं इस डायरेक्शन में जा रही हूँ, मेरे पास फ्रिक्शन उस डायरेक्शन में लग रही है, तो वी हैव द ऑपोजिट रिएक्शंस. ऑलराइट, दिस इज़ नोन एज लॉ ऑफ सॉरी थर्ड लॉ ऑफ मोशन, ठीक है. नाउ वी हैव our few examples of the third law of motion, that is walking. Walking is due to we know friction, ठीक है. Friction is also the example of walking. Swimming, हम हाथ हिलाते हैं when we हम हाथ नीचे डालते हैं पानी में ऐसे we flap it और हम ऊपर आते हैं. ऑलराइट, सो अपोजिट रिएक्शन हुआ that आपने नीचे हाथ को मारा and you comes up. Alright, so that is known as flying of a bird. This is a very good example. Flying of a bird है you must be thinking how is that possible. So the bird when it flap its wing, जब वो अपने विंग को फैलाती है तो उड़ने की कोशिश करती है. वो विंग को नीचे मारती है, it goes up, ठीक है. A book lying on a table, flying of a bird is also the example of third law of motion. All right, and we us also are the example of third law of motion. अभी आप बैठे हुए हो, you are the example of third law of motion because आपके ऊपर ग्रेविटेशनल, आपकी खुद की एक ग्रेविटेशनल फील्ड आप पे इफेक्ट कर रही है. when these two equal हो जाएंगी then you are able to sit, ठीक है. Alright, I hope these are clear.